We're sometimes told that in a free country we can film what we like, when we like, and yet privacy and safeguarding are often quoted as reasons that cameras should be switched off. So what's the deal with recording school plays and similar such events? Is it allowed? Or do the safety concerns of other children trump your right to document those precious moments? I'm Daniel Barnett, a barrister based in central London, and I'm also the presenter of the Legal Hour on LBC Radio. In this video, I'll explain when it's okay to film events at your children's school, when your child's school can stop you filming, and what you should consider when posting footage on social media. If you haven't already done so, please do subscribe by clicking the button below. Thank you. The GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulations, protect you against organisations using your personal data illegitimately. It doesn't cover individual responsibilities when recording events for personal use. In fact, there's no law that stops you photographing or filming anyone, including your own or other people's children, so long as you're in a public place, the images are not indecent and don't constitute harassment, and you're doing so for legitimate personal use, for yourself, for your friends, or for your family. If you're not in a public place, the rules are very different. Obviously, schools are private property, and so schools are entitled to have their own policies to limit or prohibit activities on their premises, such as the use of cameras. Now remember, the school may have greater insight into specific safeguarding issues than you. For example, there may be a child whose family would be in danger if they were traced to that particular area. Should you fail to abide by the school's rules, you're exceeding your right to remain on the property. As Lord Justice Scrutton remarked in the Calgarth case, now that deals with a different legal question, but the remarks are appropriate, when you invite a person into your house to use the staircase, you do not invite him to slide down the banisters. Essentially, as a parent, you've got permission to enter, but not take liberties. And as set out in the Department for Education guidance, you can be asked to stop filming or leave, or even be sued for trespassing if you go against the school's wishes. However, if another parent or a carer asks you to turn your camera off or avoid filming their child, you don't have to acquiesce, although you may choose to in the interests of courtesy. It's the school that's entitled to tell you to stop. Now, where a school has a blanket ban on photographing or filming events like school plays, they'll often hire somebody to film it instead. Data protection adherence then becomes that person's responsibility. Many schools will defer to the Information Commissioner's Office, which advises that videoing school plays for personal use, so to show family and friends, is allowed. Issues can potentially arise if a recording is shared in a wider context, for example on social media. Now, while it's not illegal for you to share images of other people's children online, again assuming they're not indecent, you should consider that it's potentially dangerous for some children to be identifiable. Footage can be screenshotted, downloaded, recorded, or shared by others very easily. Pictures and videos can be manipulated, and children or their parents might be uncomfortable with having their images shared. Whether or not they face a known threat, some parents or their children prefer to reduce the risk of their images being used illegitimately by limiting their online presence. If you do share footage, therefore, other parents might ask you to take it down. You haven't got any legal obligation to take it down if that happens, but remember, you don't know all the circumstances. It would be wise to consider complying with their request or restricting who can see your post. You don't know what their reasons are for not wanting that information on social media. Now, there are things you can do to avoid problems arising from school event photos or videos online. You can adhere to the school's guidelines on taking photos or videos. You can check with other parents and carers about permission to share their images. Where appropriate, you can ask the consent of the children involved and ask the consent of their parents, remembering that if a parent says no, a child's permission doesn't override that. You can make sure there aren't any other identifying features within or alongside the video, such as geotagging, or the school name or logo, or street signs, or children's names. You can consider cropping out or blurring the faces of any children whose permission hasn't been granted. And you can make sure you have strict security settings on the video to restrict who can view it. If you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up, and perhaps take a look at this video on GDPR or this one on parental decision making. I'm Barrister Daniel Barnett. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.